Hi there, welcome to part 2 of the first of my deck building videos. This section we talk about the ploys and upgrades that I'm going to go through and put in the deck, and obviously the deck is being built around Set the Tempo, the new objective card where you have to score 2 dual cards, 2 hybrid cards, and then 6 objective cards in total. But yeah, let's crack on. Okay, so the objectives are all locked in the first video. If you jumped ahead onto this one, the link to the first video will be showing up there in one of those fancy cards. But very much kind of a flexy deck that I've got there. Some fairly easy to score surges, which is great, and some fairly easy to score end phase cards, I think. Kind of trying to limit the potential of completely bricking my first opening hand, because it's kind of important that I don't do a mulligan, I think, with regards to being able to score Set the Tempo, which is kind of the backbone of this deck. So we'll start with the gambit. We'll start with the faction-specific ones. The type of ploys I want to be looking for are ones to do with movement, ones to do with causing kind of like extra damage as well, or pushing people, because Unexpected Pitfall, that's the one card I'm still not 100% sure on, because you do need to kind of move a lot of pieces in your deck to be able to score it. So Unexpected Pitfall it's a surge hybrid card which you score immediately after an enemy fighter is taken out of action by a lethal hex, or an enemy fighter is taken out of action by damage dealt by gambit you played. So I'll be keeping an eye out for those type of cards that deal kind of damage and things like that. But let's start with the ploys for these guys. So they've got some really good ploys. So it's going to be tough what to pick. So Call of the Grave, you can see it's a hot card. Choose an enemy fighter and push them up to 2 hexes towards a friendly fighter. So good, such a good card, and I'm going to put it in. It's very disruptive. It can bring someone over to you to get an attack in. You can push them into a lethal hex to help score that card. Yeah, that's going in. Chilling Scream. Your opponents cannot play power cards. This persists until the end of the power step. That's a maybe. In previous decks where I'm kind of looking to grab, how I've played these, where I'm looking to grab keys and sit on objectives, this was a must-have, but I think I'm going to give that a miss, that particular one. Dissipate. Play this during an attack action. Before the attack roll, choose a friendly fighter. That fighter gains an innate dodge. Oh, that's really good. All their ploys are so good. So that's a maybe. Echoing Spite. Play this after a friendly fighter's range 1 attack action that fails. That fighter makes the attack action again. I'm going to put that in because I want to have some aggressive cards in there. And I think where I'm only kind of scoring 15 glory as well, if I was to score all my cards, I need some kind of like aggro in there to be able to get that score. I think we'll put that in as we'll put it in for now and see if we can change if something crops up in the universals, for example. Frightful Aspect. Push an enemy fighter up to 1 hex. Yep, probably need that one as well for pushing into lethal hexes. Shared Agony. Choose a friendly fighter with 1 or more wound tokens and an enemy fighter adjacent to them. Heal the friendly fighter 1. The enemy fighter is dealt 1 damage. That could be great to finish someone off and then score a nice bit of ping damage. Let's go with that. Soaring Spite. Double the move characteristics of the first friendly fighter to make a move action, but not as part of a charge action in the next activation. I think that's quite essential. thinking of taking Unexpected Pitfall out. Cover ground would be easier to score, but it does mean I only have 2 hybrids, I think. Dual. Does mean I only have 2 hybrids, but they are quite easy hybrids to score, as they both score immediately. I think I'm going to change. I'm going to get rid of that Unexpected Pitfall, and Cover Ground is going to go in. I think that makes more sense. I think, because I still need to score. Yeah. So Soaring Spite, that is going in. Shared Agony is coming out. Spectral Charge, +1 damage to the first range 1 or range 2 attack action made by a friendly fighter in the next activation. They do kind of miss that. I am going to be attacking more, I think. That's a maybe. And then Spectral Grasp, reduce the move characteristic of the first fighter to be activated in the next activation by the number of friendly fighters that are out of action to a minimum of 0. I'm going to give that a miss for now, I think. So, the 4 that I've got, Call of the Grave, Echoing Spite. Do I still need Echoing Spite? Yeah. That's just another attack. Yeah. Frightful Aspect, which is the push, Soaring Spite. Lovely. Okay, so that's there to kind of stop people kind of scoring, holding objectives, or just to push someone away, those pushes. So let's move on to the upgrade for these guys. Arcane Siphon, choose 1 enemy fighter within 3 hexes of this fighter, pick one of that fighter's upgrades, that upgrade is discarded. It is an action, roll an attack dice on a hammer or a crit, discard this card. I love that card. That's going in. It's quite a meta call card as well, because you have like Lost Pages, tomes are still knocking about, so if you're able to kind of get rid of, particularly the Lost Pages, if you're able to get rid of that one that scores it, excellent. If someone's kind of gearing up, you can see they're gearing up a guy and they're looking to get a charge in with like a killer blow, or they've got a Tome of Offerings on there, and you can get rid of that. And the fact that this isn't automatically discarded as well makes it a really strong card, so that's going in there. Debilitating Aura, the attack actions of adjacent enemy fighters have -1 dice. Yeah, I think so. I have really good defense dice of Lady Harrows where I have at least 2 at a time, so that's going to be going in there. Gravesand Glass, this is a Lady Harrow card. After an attack action or ploy that takes an enemy fighter out of action, heal this fighter. No, I'm going to give that one a miss. Hollow Hatred, you can re-roll 1 dice in the attack roll of the first attack action this fighter makes in each round. I'm going to have that. I want to have a bit of aggro with these. So that's just Awakened Weapon. If you're familiar with that card, it used to be a universal card that everyone could use, so that's going in. Maddening Hunger. This fighter's range 1 and range 2 attack actions have +1 dice if they have a charge token. A maybe. Because I think there might be certain cards in there. There might be better cards that I want to take with that. Soul Harvest, an action if one or more enemy fighters are out of action. Heal this fighter and give this fighter a card token. I'm going to give that one a miss because it is an action. Soul Leech, a reaction. After this fighter makes a move action, roll an attack dice. On a roll of a hammer or crit, the first enemy fighter they moved through in that move action is dealt 1 damage. That's quite nice. I think I'm going to have that. I'm going to be moving through people quite a lot because I want to inspire everyone. Spirit Blade. So an enemy fighter needs to be out of action. You then get a 3 swords cleave attack that deals 3 damage. I'm going to give that a miss, I think. Swooping Dash, +2 move. Yeah, we'll put that in because I've swapped that card out for Cover Ground, and that +2 move, add in a +2 on these guys is insane. And then Veil of Grief, +1 wounds. I'm going to put that in as well. So let's have a look. That's 6 upgrade cards taken already, and they are all quite nice, I think. And I do have 2 restricted cards to use up as well. So there's a lot that I can do here. So let's have a look at the restricted cards next. So 17 restricted cards to choose from here. So we have Rebound, everyone's favourite Marmite card. I love it as a card. Do I want that? Let's see. That's a maybe card. That one. Pit Trap. Play this after an attack action that drives an enemy fighter back. They suffer 1 damage. It's still quite good to have that, particularly if I am going to be trying to be a little bit kind of aggro-y. Transfixing Stare, choose an enemy fighter within 2 hexes of a friendly fighter and place a move token next to them. God, this is why they're all restricted. They're all really good. Slumbering Key, if this fighter is not out of action in the 3rd end phase, gain a glory point. So I'm leaning towards that because my glory score is quite low. My total glory for my objectives is quite low. It's 15, so I might put Slumbering Key in because they don't need to be on an objective. They just need to survive. And Lady Harrows very rarely get wiped out because of those hot dice that they have. Sudden Growth, +2 wounds. Works well with Slumbering Key. Tome of Offerings, gain 1 additional glory point. It's a bit of a trap card these days because it puts a target on the back of that particular person. So I might give that a miss. Tome of Vitality, +1 wounds. While that doesn't seem particularly strong, it is a tome. So combine it with all the other tomes and the tome objective. That is quite a strong card. That's why that's restricted. Well of Power. That doesn't mean anything for me, unfortunately. Blazing Soul. This fighter is inspired and cannot be uninspired. This upgrade cannot be applied to a fighter that cannot be inspired. That could be a good one to get somebody inspired very quickly. Spirit Bond, when you apply this upgrade, choose a friendly fighter other than the one who receives this upgrade. While that fighter you chose is on the battlefield, they are always considered to be supporting this fighter. That, I think, is that going in because I'm chucking 2 defense dice all the time and I've got a lot of attack dice that I'm throwing too, so I'm going to put Spirit Bond in there. Frenzied Search, play this only if your warband holds 1 or more objectives. Discard 1 power card. If you do, draw up to 3 power cards. I think because of I want to have another restricted card, and there are 2 other cards that I can put in to help with my card drawing. So I'm going to leave that one. Nightmare in the Shadows, choose 1 enemy fighter and push them 1 hex. I've got enough push things in there. Restless Prize, pick 1 objective token and move it into an adjacent hex up to 2 times. I'm going to ignore that because I've got enough Pushing. Cryptic Companion. This fighter is a quarry. If this fighter is a quarry and is holding an objective at the end of an action phase, gain 1 glory point. Oh, possibly that one. Possibly that. It's a tough decision, isn't it? It's a tough decision. Do I want to upgrade, or do I want? Actually, I think I'm going to go Frenzied Search after I talked it down. It's out of Frenzied Search and Cryptic Companion because 3 cards is really strong. If I put Unnatural Truce in, I'm giving my opponent a draw. Gonna do Frenzied Search. That's my 3 restricted, so I've got 1 in each. Frenzied Search, Spirit Bond, and 1 Will. Okay. So next up, we'll look at the Universal Gambits. The type of stuff I'm going to be looking for. Again, I'm going to do the lazy filter and do hot tournament cards. Here we go. Universal Ploys Championship. Okay, so there's 37 to blitz through. So Confusion, choose 2 fighters that are adjacent to each other and switch them. I'm probably going to give that a miss. Daylight Robbery is one of my favourite cards. I'll put that in there. Roll an attack dice. If you roll a hammer or a crit, take one of your opponent's unspent glory points. I have won games because of that card. Lots of people out there have won games because of that card. It's just funny and silly, and I want to put that in there. Distraction. Choose an enemy fighter and push them 1 hex. I have enough push, I think. I have enough push. Like push enemy fighters at least. Mischievous Spirits, taking it in turns with your opponents, starting with you and going clockwise. Move each objective 1 hex. Objectives cannot be moved into a hex that already contains an objective. I might put that in. We'll see. That's kind of on the maybe list. It can benefit me and it can disrupt my opponent too. It's a very good card. Sidestep, choose a friendly fighter and push them 1 hex. I think Sidestep is going in because I don't have much pushing for me, although I don't really need it. All of my objective holding is at the end of. I don't need it. I don't think I need it. Yeah, my objective holding, objectives that I score immediately at the end of an activation. So the power step doesn't come into account. That's fine for me. Spectral Wings, +2 to move. That helps me score cover ground quite easily, so that's going in. Centre of Attention, choose a fighter and push all other fighters that are within 2 hexes 1 hex, so that they are closer to that fighter in an order you choose. It's a good card, but not for me in this. Confusion, we've already discussed that. That's one of the cards that's duplicated. Countercharge, play this after an enemy fighter's move action. That's part of a charge action. Choose a friendly fighter and push them up to 3 hexes. They must end this push adjacent to the enemy fighter. I'm going to give that one a miss. Determined Effort, +1 for the first attack action in the next activation. I think I'm going to give that a miss as well. Encroaching Shadow, choose an enemy fighter in an edge hex. They suffer 1 damage. I'll give that a miss. It's not something that I'm trying to do anymore. Reaction, play this after an attack action with a range of 1 that targets a friendly fighter and fails. If there are any crits in your defense roll, the attack suffers 2 damage. Yes, that is going in. Because of the amount of defense dice I roll, that could happen quite easily. Okay, so Grievous Riposte, that's going in. Next up, Haymaker. +2 dice for the attack action made by a friendly fighter in the next activation. You cannot make defense rolls for that fighter. The later effect persists until that fighter is out of action or the end of the round, whichever happens first. I'm going to give that a miss because there is a better version of that card now. Lethal Ward, choosing an executive token. Any fighter in the same hex as that token suffers 1 damage. That's not my jam now with this particular deck. Mirror move, play this after an opponent pushes a fighter, choose a different fighter and push them the same number of hexes. I'm going to give that a miss. Pit Trap, play this after an attack action that drives the... Oh, that's a restricted one, we've already discussed that. Shadow Step, choose a friendly fighter with no move or charge tokens and place them on an empty hex in no one's territory. That's quite a good card, but I'm going to give that a miss. Shifting Reflection, choose a friendly fighter and an enemy fighter that are both holding objectives, switch those fighters' positions. I don't need that card. I'm not holding objectives based on their numbers. Inspired Attack, the first attack action with a range of 1, made by an inspired friendly fighter in the next activation has +1 and +1 damage. Going to give that a miss as well. 2 steps forward, choose 2 friendly fighters and push each of them 1 hex, then choose an opponent, they choose 1 fighter from their warband and push them up to 1 hex. Again, it's a very good card, but it's not quite fitting in with what I'm looking to do with this particular deck. Buried Instinct, play this during an attack action that targets a friendly fighter. Before the attack roll, give that friendly fighter 1 card token. If that friendly fighter is a quarry, you can also reroll 1 dice in the defense roll for that attack action. And Buried Instinct is such a good card. Just automatically putting someone on guard when you have 2 dice to play with is very good. Collapse, pick 3 edge hexes in a single group, you then deal 1 damage to anyone that's in there. I'm going to give that one a miss. Confusion with Disgust, those restricted cards with Disgust. Sidestep, choose a friendly fighter and push them 1 hex. I've got enough pushing. Sitting Target, the first attack action made by a friendly fighter in the next activation has +1 dice and ensnare if the target has no move or charge tokens. I think I'm going to have that because ensnare is such a good card. How many are we up to? Ooh, so I'm up to 10 and I've not put in my card drawing. Let's get rid of Sitting Target because I only want to have 10 cards. So I want to have... Where is it? I want Quick Search. Draw up to 2 power cards. There's no... So for me, that's better than Unnatural Truce because I'm not giving the opponent anything. So let's have a look. Daylight Robbery. I gain a steal or glory from their opponent. Spectral Wings, extra movement, Grievous Riposte, being able to cause 2 damage. Such a good card, particularly when I'm rolling at least 2 dice. In defense, Call of the Grave, choose an enemy fighter, potentially push them up to 2. Do I take that out now? Do I keep that in? No, I'll keep that in. Echoing Spite. Play this after a friendly fighter's range 1 attack action fails. I'll do it again. Yep, Frightful Aspect. That's a push. Soaring Spite. Double my move characteristic. That's good. Buried Instinct. Helps me with my defense. Works really well with Grievous Riposte as well. Frenzied Search for scoring to the end. And Quick Search for scoring to the end as well. Lovely. I am happy with what I've got there. Okay, so upgrades. Let's have a look at the upgrades section. So Great Strength, +1 damage to this. Fighter's attack action. God, there's quite a lot here. 36 to go through. +1 damage. I mean, I think I want that. Let's... Possibly. Great Fortitude, +1 wounds. I do have a wounds one already. So let's try and ignore that. Glory Seeker, +1 damage to this fighter's attack actions that target a fighter with a wounds characteristic of 4 or more. I think that's going in because but like with the orcs now as well, I think that extra kind of damage, we need that. Potion of Rage. During this fighter's attack action, before any dice are rolled, discard. The attack action has +2 dice until the action is resolved. Possibly Fameway Crystal. So that one you move, but have to move. You have to, when you have it, you have to move onto an empty objective token. Oh. Does make scoring certain objectives quite easy. So that's a maybe. Quickening Greaves. In each round you can do one of the following. Push this fighter 1 hex before the roll to determine who has first activation, or push this vet 1 hex after the final power step. I mean, it's good, but I think there's better cards that I need. Like this one, Spectral Armour. +1 dice if my defense characteristic is dodges. Yes, please. Having 3 defense dice is fantastic. Amberbone Spear. I'm going to ignore all the Amberbone weapons. I'm not going to be taking any of those. Crown of Avarice. This is like a revert. This is a little bit like Daylight Robbery, but a reaction. No, I'm not going to take that. Tome of Glories. If this fighter is holding an objective, gain 1 glory point. Put a charge token next to this fighter. Ooh, do I want to take that? How many more slots do I have? I've got 1 more slot, so this is quite an important slot. You can put a charge token down after you've moved, which does make that quite strong. And it does give me an extra way of scoring glory, which I might need. But let's have a look. Let's see. There's Cryptic Companion that's restricted. I can ignore all the lost pages. Substance Siphon. I never really understood. This fighter's defense characteristic is dodges X, where X is the round number. Their defense characteristic cannot be modified, and you cannot reroll dice in the defense roll when this fighter is the target of an attack action. No. Tomes. Magic-y and distant stuff. Potion of Constitution. That's reducing damage. Tome of Healing. Let's give that a miss. Lava Lance. Let's give that a miss. I'm going to kind of ignore weapon ones. We've got keys. Trophy Belt, Survival Instinct, which has been... So the big question here is... do I want one of these? Let's blitz through the universals in the new set just to see if I'm missing anything in particular. So they're not hot tournament cards yet because they've not been in any tournaments. So again, ignoring the lost pages and the Amberbone weapons and any weapons and the Urgrub stuff. Greedy Gauntlet, that's the sacrifice counter one, so I'm going to ignore that. We've got a few Hunter and Wizard cards here to ignore. This fighter, Predator's Trinket. This fighter is a quarry. If this fighter is a quarry, this fighter's range 1 or range 2 attack actions have cleave. I'm going to ignore that. Ignore the combo because I don't have combo. Showy Glass. If there are 1 or more crits in this fighter's attack roll, place a potency counter on this card. While there are 1 or more potency counters on this card, you can reroll 1 dice in this fighter's attack action. Rerolls are good, but I'm not sure about that one. Soulwood Shard. After an enemy wizard casts a spell, before it's dealt, resolved, pick 1. This fighter is dealt 1 damage and the spell is not resolved, or this fighter is not dealt damage when the fighter... possibly. Stealthy Blade is a weapon, ignoring Strength of Terror. This fighter is a quarry. If this fighter is a quarry, +1 dice, this fighter's attack range 2. Going to ignore that. Vortex Stone, reaction after this fighter's activation, choose an enemy fighter within 3 hexes and push the chosen fighter up to 2 hexes. This push must bring the chosen fighter closer to this fighter each time the chosen fighter leaves a hex. Then discard this card. I'm going to ignore that one. When this fighter is the target of an attack action, they are considered to have one more supporting fighter than they do. That's the one I was looking for. Right at the bottom, Warding Companion. Works very well with all that other lovely defensive buffs that I have. So, this is it. Locked in. Ready to roll. Hopefully I'm going to get some games in today on Vassal. I've enjoyed doing this. Is this a tournament winning deck? I don't know, probably not. Can it win some games? I think it can. There's a lot in there. It's quite flexy. I can do some damage. I can score some glory. Those glory objectives are quite easy to score, which makes set the tempo easy to score. And when you're scoring a 3 glory card, I know this sounds weird, you're probably going to do quite well, particularly when that 3 glory card means you need to score 6. You're going to be scoring 6 glory with it, so you've scored 9 at least. If you score set the tempo, you've scored 9 glory at least. So there's potential with this. I'm looking forward to testing it. I'm going to try and fly it. That's it. Sorry. I'm going to try and play maybe 2 or 3 games with this on Vassal over the next few days. So do keep an eye out, as I'll do a little kind of deck review in a couple of days after this video. But let me know what you think. Has it been interesting kind of watching someone build a deck from scratch? Would you have picked anything different to my gambits and upgrades? Do let me know in the comments, and if you want to see how the deck got on, do give us a little subscribe. I've put one of the fancy watermarks in the bottom corner there as well now. Slowly becoming a YouTube pro, but do give us a sub if you're enjoying this, and yeah, hopefully see you soon, and I'll be able to discuss a few victories. Cheers.